First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
And getting ready for those freezing temperatures across the area. First Alert Weather Day starting again tomorrow morning. We're still in it. We're already down to freezing now across parts of the area. That's going to continue overnight and through early tomorrow morning. And what we're talking about is low temperatures down into the 20s and even some 30s possible all the way down to the Gulf Coast. So the entire state of Alabama will experience the freeze there early tomorrow morning. So make sure you have all those preparatory measures in place. Everything's properly winterized. And certainly this is the kind of cold that can certainly cause some issues with respect to the pipes. So make sure they're all well protected, insulated. Check on friends, family, pets. Make sure those plants, hopefully by now after a couple of frost events, we have those plants all well protected there for early tomorrow morning. AccuTrack at the moment, all these purple shadings. This is the freeze warning from the National Weather Service. And today we've been setting some records out there. Matt's going to tell us a little bit more about that coming up. But I want to show you here as far as the temperatures right now. We are at freezing in a lot of locations to the north, and the thing is once we drop below freezing, Ashland, we're at 32, showing 30 around Jasper, 32 at Haleyville. We're going to stay there for the rest of tonight. It'll probably be 9-10 o'clock tomorrow morning before the temperatures rise above freezing. But there's still some snow on the radar. The cold air has been pouring in across the state of Alabama, so that's kicked off some snow flurries. We saw that pick up again today. I've heard from a lot of you from Coleman all the way to Fort Payne, Alabama. I've been sharing a lot of your photos on my Facebook and social media pages today, but that snow light stuff, it's flurries, but it's still showing up here on radar. So Gadsden to Center, yeah, it's certainly, I believe the Kendall Mark kicked off in Coleman today. So how about this to kind of put us in the holiday mood, right, with a little bit of snow falling across parts of the area. I don't think this is going to cause any issues, but it wouldn't surprise me. Some of the highest elevations you get in around Lookout Mountain might be a little bit of a dusting there if this keeps up. You can see there's some nice little snow showers there moving in towards the south and the east tonight, and that's where we also have some of the stronger wind gusts. The wind, though, it's still out there, still a factor, but it is going to continue to back off here over the next few hours. But Jasper, thankfully, that wind, I mean, these are current wind gusts, and these are not sustained winds, but they're showing up there. Wind chills down into the 20s, so it feels a lot colder with the wind factored in, and those wind chill values tonight could go as low as 19 degrees. But tomorrow morning, likely seeing low 20s all the way to the Highway 80 corridor to the north. Probably see a few teens, places like Aniana, Sneed, Altoona. You get in towards Talon, Gadsden, and some of these areas north around Vinemont, Addison, Double Springs, where we had a few of those flurries today. That's going to be an issue tomorrow morning, those teens out there, which is certainly record-setting across the area. But once we get past that, rest of Veterans Day, not too bad, and the winds actually back way off tomorrow. The flow starts to change. The cold air has just been pouring in all day. Well, that finally stops, and then we get more of a southwest flow kicking in tomorrow at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. But you can see sunshine on the way. Afternoon highs in the 50s for tomorrow, so we will see at least a little bit of an improvement. But it will get a lot warmer over the next few days. We'll show you more on what's happening for the rest of the week coming up in 30 seconds. All right, I mentioned what's ahead. The rest of this week, we're going to see those highs back into the 70s. Right now, we're close to freezing in some areas, and by Wednesday afternoon, temperatures will be back into the upper 60s. Let's talk about what the weekend forecast looks like as of right now. I know this is still the end of the week, right, coming up, but maybe you're thinking ahead, making some plans for the weekend. Maybe you want to break out some of those Christmas decorations. You can see Saturday, we're showing 75 degrees. It looks dry. Saturday looks like a dry day. I believe we got a couple football games happening in the state, right, on Saturday, and it certainly looks like that dry weather is going to cooperate. But a nice warm up after a cool, crisp start to the day, so at least we still have some more fall-like weather to enjoy. Now, Sunday, it gets a little bit tricky because some of the models suggest we might start to see a few showers. I will say that the new data coming in over the past few hours has pushed a lot of this rain into next week. It looks like maybe Monday or Tuesday of next week, the next best chance for showers. So check in for updates. We're trying to really lock in the start time on that that next system. I'm not sold on this being a big rain event for us, so drought is going to continue to be a big issue here. We'll be talking about on Weather Extra throughout the week. In fact, with the wind today, it was dangerously dry out there with the wind. That was a bad addition as far as the fire danger across the state. I know Matt was sending out some alerts about that earlier today. But right now, let's toss it over to Mickey and check out some of those viewer photos you have shared on the First Alert Weather app.
Well, it's that happy time of the week here for Weather Extra when we show your pictures, and you can get quick and easy access to our First Alert Weather app. That's where we get our pictures. By the way, you send them in through our First Alert Weather app. If you email them, whatever, this is the best way. So scan the QR code or just do an app search for WBRC First Alert. And when you get there, scroll down to the bottom of the app and it'll show where you can submit those photos. That's what our viewers did here. We have a couple of photos sent in. This was from Susan Bunn. This is Lay Lake at Cedar Creek, and it's how appropriate that is as we get closer to Veterans Day this week. Just a great looking view of the Old Glory showing off. Speaking of showing off, we've got the fall leaves. Linda Love sent in leaves from Alabama to Tennessee. So look at we've got the gold, the green, we've got orange, just all kinds of colors. I even got 2 pictures in from her. So she apparently made a drive from Alabama to Tennessee recently and shared those beautiful fall colors. They called her Linda Love. Thank you very much, Linda, for sending those pictures in. And then we have Sheila Wiggins. This picture from Girdwood, Alaska. How about that? I think it's cold here. That looks really, really cold. So thank you, Mrs. Wiggins, for sending in that picture from Girdwood, Alaska. How about that? So there's the QR code again. If you want to send in pictures, be a part of our weather team here on Weather Extra, just download the app or scan that QR code and you can be a part of our team. That's a look at today's pictures.
Explore the wonders of weather with Weather in the Classroom. Scan the QR code now to help your kids soar to new heights with Soar with 6.
Well, it's been a very cold afternoon, and just to give you a perspective, temperatures on November 10th in November on average should be about 67 degrees. So we are talking about temperatures this afternoon 20 to 25 degrees below average. By the end of November, our average high is usually right around 60, 61 degrees. Just to give you an idea about breaking records, we just shattered it this afternoon. These are a look at our coolest high temperatures, or the record minimum high temperatures on this date, November 10th. Well, for Birmingham, the coolest high ever recorded on this date was 46 degrees, set back in 1950. Tuscaloosa destroyed the record. 51 is the old, back in 1977, and Anniston at 47 in 1950. So how about that? Very impressive. What about temperatures tomorrow morning? Could we break any record low temperatures? Well, on average, our low temperature for this time of year is right around 44 to 43 degrees. And by the end of the month of November, we average a low temperature about 40 degrees. Well, I think we have a really good chance to break those record temperatures tomorrow morning. We're thinking low to mid 20s, and we could pretty much tie or beat those records in Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, and Anniston. The record for Birmingham tomorrow, 25 back in 1926. Tuscaloosa, your record low, 26 degrees back in 1953. And in Anniston, 24 is your record low back in 1950. So wake with us tomorrow morning on Good Day Alabama. We'll be showing you those temperatures. Either way, it is going to be very cold for this time of the year. But the biggest question is this the coldest it's ever been? No. These are a look at our coldest temperatures recorded in the month of November. It was 5 degrees in Birmingham. Grant, this is late in the month, November 25th. Tuscaloosa, the coldest it's ever been, is 10 degrees. Once again, back in November 25th in 1950, and 5 degrees in Anniston. So bundle up, stay warm, keep your pets safe and warm as well, and don't forget about your pipes and your plants.
4 people have died from Typhoon Fung Wong as it slammed into the northern Philippines on Sunday. The massive storm lashed parts of the country's main island with heavy winds, rains, and storm swells. As Mike Valerio tells us, around 1.4 million people evacuated ahead of the typhoon, which is the second in a week to make landfall in that country.
And of course, this latest typhoon, Fung Wong, comes just a few days, less than a week after Typhoon Kalmegi, which killed more than 200 people in the Philippines, 5 people in Vietnam. And in terms of what this latest typhoon, Fung Wong, has done to the Philippines, well, according to the Office of Civil Defense, we have about 1,000 homes that have been damaged. And working with estimates, the Office of Civil Defense also says that around 426,000 families have been evacuated, sent away from their homes to seek safety. About 6,000 evacuation centers opening throughout the country. And in terms of what this storm did, the track that it took, Dinalungan, the oceanside municipality, is where the storm made landfall on the island of Luzon. About 185 km/h winds, sustained speeds. It's about 115 mile-an-hour winds as soon as it made landfall. In terms of deaths, there was a drowning in the province of Catanduanes. Also, firefighters were able to retrieve the body of one woman after a structure collapsed around her in Catbalogan City. So according to the latest numbers that we have as of Monday, 318,000 people were still in evacuation centers. Where this storm is going, it's moved into the South China Sea, expected over Taiwan by Wednesday. But local authorities in the Philippines have still said that storm surge could be a concern up until 8 p.m. Monday. The United States and Japan, according to an official quoted by the Associated Press, are prepared to help, but the Philippines, they have not requested international assistance as of yet. Mike Valerio, Beijing.
Check this video out. What you are seeing is a suspension bridge swinging wildly thanks to, well, those winds from that typhoon, Fung Wong, as it hit the Philippines. Just unbelievable video there. This video was taken south of where the storm made landfall. You can imagine being on that bridge. while this is happening. Just some wild scenes with those typhoons happening there. Of course, you know, we're coming up on the end of hurricane season at the end of the month. Right now, not seeing any active systems out in the tropics that we're concerned about. But thousands of victims of January's Palisades fire in Southern California are suing the city of Los Angeles and the state of California. $10 billion class action lawsuit accuses the state and local government of failures of epic proportions. Sarah Lee Gray has a story.
Well, what we're seeing now is a lot of back and forth between government agencies, and it all started 6 days before the Palisades fire. On New Year's Day, there was this smaller fire burning. We know fire crews rushed to the area. Later that day, the LAFD contained it, but some at the scene weren't so sure.
I couldn't be sure that we would make it out.
10 months ago, we were there as Casey Sabani and his family saw what was left of their home for the first time after the Palisades fire.
Just knew we've got to get out of here.
Today, they're still struggling to move on.
We are living the aftermath, and we've seen it, unfortunately, firsthand with a lot of kids who have their own form of trauma.
Casey is one of thousands who lost everything, and now lawyers for the victims and their families are seeking billions in damages from several entities.
There were systemic failures, both on the state and city level, in terms of the government actors, but there were also failures by non-governmental actors as well.
Here's where it gets complicated. The Palisades fire didn't just start on January 7th, according to federal prosecutors. On New Year's Day, 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderknecht is accused of starting a smaller brush fire known as the Lockman Fire. The LAFD said firefighters contained and put out the fire the same day. On January 2nd, a battalion chief ordered crews to pack up and leave, according to texts obtained by the LA Times. Some firefighters warned it was too soon, even texting their boss it was a bad idea.
What we're seeing here is a record of knowing about the risks, being warned, but despite that, not properly deploying resources, not having effective communication and coordination.
Days later, on January 7th, the fire reignited and eventually exploded into the Palisades fire. Federal investigators later determined the fire smoldered and burned deep underground for days, untraced, until uncontrollable high winds created a firestorm. The lawsuit claims the city and state didn't follow their own rules and that failures to keep water and power running, along with poor land management, made the fire worse. Newsom's office says that's false, saying in part the state didn't start this fire, that was an arsonist, and the state wasn't responsible for responding to or monitoring this fire, but opportunistic plaintiffs' attorneys are now going after the California Department of Parks and Rec.
It's wrong to say that all of this is solely because somebody started a fire on January 1st. There's so much more that happened that caused the outcome that we are dealing with today.
Now, a federal grand jury subpoenaed the Los Angeles Fire Department for those text messages obtained by the Los Angeles Times that warned about hot spots, smoke, and smoldering in the area. In the Pacific Palisades, Sarah Allegre, Fox News.
All right, a blast of Arctic air across the state of Alabama tonight, 36 in Tuscaloosa. One thing I want to show you, the dew point, 15 degrees. You know it's some cold air when we're seeing those kind of dew points. That's some extremely dry air over the state, showing 14 at Bessemer, and we're right there at the freezing mark. I was looking at the camera, see maybe if we might have a flurry or two trying to fall out there tonight. I think north and east we still could see a few of these. Places like Jacksonville could see a few snow flurries out there tonight. First alert Sky Vision. So yes, it's time to break out the good old static meter here. So tomorrow, a good morning. All the clothing's going to be extra clingy tomorrow morning. Certainly want to break out the fabric softener, right? But it's one of those mornings too. You may get the extra shock when you grab the door handle, but very dry air in place right now, and certainly with the drought conditions, these temperatures are going to drop in a hurry. Once that wind settles down, it's already starting to back off some tonight. That's why we went a lot colder tomorrow morning, as low as 19 for areas to the north. 24 at Tuscaloosa, 23 at Birmingham, 22 at Anniston. This would set record lows tomorrow morning, as Matt was talking about. We're expecting those kind of temperatures. Now further south, we're also seeing low 20s possible, so it's the entire area, the entire state actually, all the way down to the Gulf Coast will experience those freezing temperatures into early tomorrow morning. But the rest of the day, notice, yeah, we see a big drop in temperatures, but we rebound in a hurry. And the good thing is, even though tomorrow by 1 o'clock we're showing 50 degrees for Veterans Day, it's still a chilly day, but it's not as windy. We got sunshine, so that's going to help us out with those comfort levels. But if you are out and about later tomorrow as we get closer to sunset time. Just don't leave the house without the jacket again, because that temperature is going to be cold tomorrow night, especially during the evening. And I think a light freeze, may even see a few 20s on the map again early Wednesday morning for areas to the north. But the National Weather Service, they have us under a freeze warning, and Coleman County, we're not under the freeze warning, but I promise you we will have freezing temperatures early tomorrow morning. Coleman's in the National Weather Service Huntsville area, so the Birmingham Weather Service has issued these products here that you see, these freeze warnings. But the bottom line is a first alert weather day to start out for temperatures below freezing. And still, we go over to the radar, and you can see close to the radar site where we're picking up some of that light precipitation there reaching the ground. These are the flurries that we're seeing. This is a very sensitive mode here. The radar's picking up around Fort Payne on some of those flurries. But I mentioned earlier, totally wouldn't surprise me on maybe closer to Chattanooga, places around Lookout Mountain there might see maybe a little light dusting in some of the highest elevations if this keeps up for longer this evening. We're in that northwest flow. You can see how the arrows here across the state of Alabama are northwest to southeast. That's the general flow pattern for now, but that starts to shift around quickly. Over the next couple days, we'll have a few clouds at times. I think Thursday, Friday, dew points come up. We won't be seeing dew points in the teens, more like some 40s and perhaps some 50s, but that's going to lead to maybe some patchy fog during the morning hours later on this week. But as far as the next chance of rain, models are trying to lock in, kind of like last week. They're really struggling here on these weekend systems. We see another system that yesterday it looked like it might roll in on Sunday. Now it's looking like Monday, Tuesday of next week. So at this stage, I would plan for maybe a few showers possible as early as Sunday afternoon and evening, but just know that a lot of this may hold off until Monday of next week. But I'm just not sold on this being a big rainmaker for us. Drought is still going to be a big issue, although we could see a couple thunderstorms. But this time of the year, these forecasts, they can change quickly. This is rocky November, as I often say here in Alabama. So check in, make sure you over the next several days, because this forecast could change a lot by Thursday and Friday. And just want to make sure you have the latest on when to expect that wet weather. But right now, holding around 40%. I bumped that higher rain chance over into Monday and next week and into Tuesday. Also adjusted the numbers on the weather app, so you check that. You'll have the updated forecast. I just put that in for you there. But the temperatures, you can see this weekend, Saturday, 75. Overnight lows right around 51. So even at night, we will see those temperatures modify. And you can see there around 68 degrees and 67 towards the middle of next week. So temperatures will stay in the 60s. But we'll be checking in on some more video of where we saw some of those flurries out there today. But it is a cold night across Alabama. We'll have another check on those morning lows after the break.
You're watching WBRC 6 News, Alabama Broadcasters Association's Station of the Year.
All right, mention those lows early tomorrow morning in the upper teens, low 20s out there. But hey, just hang on, right? Buckle up. We're going to be back in the 70s by the middle of the week. So it's going to be back and forth from here. That roller coaster season has arrived already. But, you know, there's an old saying when it comes to weather. You know, sometimes when you start seeing this kind of weather in November, it can sort of set the stage for what's to come. But hopefully it's not a major winter storm or anything like that. But hey, we did have some snow today. We had some flurries in Cades Cove. Always love seeing the views from Cades Cove. Cheryl Ezekiel sharing this on my Facebook page today, but it was coming down there, of course, around Gatlinburg in the higher elevations. This was right there, right along the Tennessee-North Carolina border in the mountains. Chris JB sharing this on Twitter, but you can see nice accumulations there in the higher elevations. But hey, let's bring it on back home here to Vinemont, Alabama. Michelle Crawford sharing a blizzard there happening in northern Coleman County earlier today. It really coming down. What a sight, huh? November the 10th, and we got something like that. But listen, November's been showing off. We've had some incredible fall colors. Tanny Hill, Ryan Carty with his drone there capturing this lovely view, and hopefully some of these leaves will still hold on here for a few days so we can go take some more photos. But Sylacauga, Tracy Fuller sharing this lovely fall scene there from southern Talladega County. And how about Mentone, Alabama? Chad Murray capturing this view over the weekend before all the clouds and the colder temperatures moved in. But we're tracking the big drop in temperatures. I'll see you back here at 9 o'clock with more updates on the first.